WWE's Clash of the Champions 2020. I gotta say, man, for a pay-per-view, this was actually a decent pay-per-view. I mean, despite, like, if you take away, like, the matches that were, that we've seen like 1,000 times, then this would have been an amazing, really good pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, man, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So I didn't watch the pre-show, so I'm not gonna say, uh, you know, what happened on the pre-show. But before I get to this Clash of Champions, I just want to say that, there were matches that were supposed to happen on this show but didn't happen due to reasons, COVID, Shayna Baszler might being pregnant, I don't know. But all I know is that there were matches that were supposed to happen on this show, but they didn't happen. Like, Nikki Cross versus Bayley was supposed to happen. Bayley ended up facing Asuka. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler were supposed to defend their women's tag team championships against Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, but the match got canceled because Shayna wasn't able to make it. And I believe those were the only matches that were supposed to happen but did not take place. So the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match ended up moving to the pre-show, and they moved the Zelina Vega and Asuka match to the main card. So we kicked off the night with an amazing triple threat ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This match ended up being the longest match of the night. And in my personal opinion, I think this match was second in match of the night. I think this matchup was the match of the night. In my personal opinion, I know some will say the ambulance match was match of the night. Others might say the Universal Championship match was match of the night. But me personally, this was my match of the night. These three men, I said it, if you watched, my previews. I said that these three men were going to go out and put on a show. And trust me when I say this, Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles did not disappoint. These three men went out there and put on an insane ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. And I got to say, the best spot, not just of the match, but the best spot of the night, we have Jeff Hardy, who, let me remind you, is 40-something years old, and does a swanton bomb off the ladder onto Sami Zayn, where the ladder buckles. And I gotta say, now I know not Sami Zayn, but Jeff Hardy, he's done that same spot for years now. But every time Jeff Hardy does it, it amazes me, because Jeff Hardy is damn near 40 years old and he's still doing stuff like this. So I applaud Jeff Hardy, man, for putting his body on the line, for putting his body on the line for us, man. So shout out to Hardy for doing that, man, for doing that spot. Hardy could have been like, hell no, I'm not doing this spot, but he did it, and that's what made it great. Sami Zayn, the way Sami won the match was actually very creative. Obviously, he made the ladder, connected the ladder towards Jeff Hardy's ear. And AJ Styles' hand was handcuffed to the ladder. So like I just said a few seconds ago, Jeff Hardy's ear was handcuffed to the ladder. So that was really creative shit by Sami to win the match, and Sami wins the Intercontinental Championship in an amazing triple threat ladder match. So, yeah. All right, so we got the next match of the night. We had Asuka versus Zelina Vega for the Raw Women's Championship. And even though this match, lasted for 7 minutes and 5 seconds, I got to say, man, Zelina Vega really showed out well. A few days before the pay-per-view, I saw some of the stuff I saw some of the YouTube clips she did on YouTube, and, you know, while she was in TNA, for those who didn't know, Zelina Vega was in TNA at the time, years ago. And Zelina Vega isn't that bad of a wrestler. She's pretty good in the ring. Hopefully, you know, this is a big step up towards Zelina Vega. Like, you know, she's no longer going towards that valid persona. She's now going towards that wrestler role. And, you know, even though, you know, she got beat by Asuka, you know, she showed that, you know, she can go a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we all know they ended up facing each other on Monday Night Raw. If you didn't know, they faced each other on Monday Night Raw last night. So, decent. It was okay. It was all right. It was okay. It was okay. Asuka won, which was predictable. So, yeah. Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. I didn't really care for this match, to be honest with you. You know, we've seen this. You know, like I said, man, you know, SmackDown, their matches were amazing tonight. You know what I mean? Like, there was only like one good Raw match, and that was the WWE Championship match. But when you look at most of these matches, that just already tells you how bad the show is, how bad Raw is, because, you know, Lashley's facing Apollo Crews, which the thing I can understand because Apollo Crews, you know, needs his rematch clause. But it's just, man, you know, it's. And then the next night on Raw, they're feuding again. It's just like, dude, like, end the feud, move on. You know, this shit's getting old. You know what I mean? Like, when the shit started, don't get me wrong, like, the matches, yeah, they'll be good. But when it gets to the point where you're seeing it over and over again, not only are we seeing it on Monday Night Raw, but we're seeing it on pay-per-view, it gets to a point like when they're doing this matchup over and over again, that lets you know the WWE doesn't have no plans, and because who's Apollo supposed to feud with this afterwards? Who's Lashley supposed to feud with afterwards? That just lets you know where, you know, what's going on with WWE Creative and stuff. But yeah, it's all good, you know. Lashley retained, thank God. And also predictable. Like, a lot of these matches are actually predictable. Anyways, Street Profits defeated Andrade and Angel Garza. Crazy enough, Angel Garza suffered an injury during the end of the match, which caused the match to end like it did. That's probably why Andrade kicked out, even though he wasn't supposed to kick out. So that was a little false finish. The Street Profits retained their titles, and Angel Garza unfortunately suffered an injury. Did look like he suffered a quad injury, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Angel Garza, keep pulling it, brother. We love you. Well, I support you. This matchup is okay, I guess. You know, like I said, seen this matchup thousands of times. You know, didn't really care for it. I think what needs to happen, the Street Profits need to feud with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, and they need to unify the tag team championships. You know, like, I'm hearing, because they're bringing back the draft. You know what I mean? Well, I'll talk about the draft at the end of the video. So we have, like I said, because Bayley was supposed to face Nikki Cross. That didn't happen. So Asuka ends up challenging Bayley, and this was, you know, Bayley wins by disqualification. Sasha Banks comes back. She attacks Bayley, and it looks like we're going to be getting Sasha Banks versus Bayley, most hopefully inside Hell in a Cell, because reports have been coming out saying that Sasha Banks and Bayley will be the main event of Hell in a Cell. So that means that Sasha Banks and Bayley, with it being the main event of Hell in a Cell, it's going to be inside Hell in a Cell. And prayerfully, hopefully, you know, if they do fight inside Hell in a Cell, hopefully we won't see no disqualification happen like the past 2 years. We've seen it. I mean, then again, I've seen some people talk about how, oh, Sasha Banks and Bayley fighting in Hell in a Cell, it's too early. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, come on. Is it really too early? It's like, dude, they've been teasing this feud for months on end. You know what I mean? Like, you want Sasha Banks versus Bayley at Mania. Dude, Mania's in April. You know what I mean? We'll have to wait most likely another 6 or 7 months for Mania to happen. And you're talking about, oh, they need to face at Mania. They need to face at Mania. But then again, Banks could go to Raw, win the Rumble, come after Bayley. But then Bayley would have to. But Bayley, who is she going to defend the title against? And that's another thing. Maybe they should unify the Raw and Women's Championships. Because, there's really hardly no women's division on Raw, just like there really isn't one on SmackDown. You know what I mean? And Bayley's been champion forever now. It's like, who else is she going to be? You know what I mean? If she's facing Sasha at Mania, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, we got the WWE Championship match. Well, an ambulance match for the WWE Championship between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre, well, the legends, Christian, Big Show, Michaels, except Edge, but Edge, injury, so they all decide to come back and get their so-called revenge on Randy Orton. And, a lot of people have been saying that this situation made Drew a little bit weak in a way. Like, he needed 3 legends to help him win. And to a certain extent, yeah, they kind of did. And Ric Flair drew the ambulance. Well, he drew, he drove out of the arena, the Thunderdome with the with Orton in the ambulance. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying that this made Drew a little bit weaker, and yeah, to an extent, yeah, it kind of did make Drew a little bit weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew could have beaten, Randy Orton on his own. Like, did he really need the legends to help him win? But then again, they've been building Drew strong for months now, so yeah, I don't think it's gonna hurt Drew. I don't know. And one thing, like I said, with the draft coming up, this could be a perfect opportunity to have AJ come back to Raw and feud with McIntyre for the title. Because I love Orton to death, but Orton's lost to Drew 2 times already. Like, do they really have to face inside Hell in a Cell? I mean, don't get me wrong, the match would be good, but again, we've seen, shouldn't Randy Orton move on? But then again, Orton's at the top of his game right now, so I guess they want, Randy to beat Drew, but it be inside Hell in a Cell and not just in a single match. And if that's the case, well, then they should have had Orton win the ambulance match. That way, Drew still doesn't, lose clean. He still didn't get pinned or submitted. So, I don't know. Now we got the main event. Oh, by the way, this ambulance match was really good, by the way. Didn't care for the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Like I said, didn't really care for the Raw Tag Team Championship match. And, Lashley and Cruz I didn't really care about. But we get to the main event. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. So, Roman, no, he didn't squash Jey Uso. I don't know if anyone, saw this match, but to me, I kind of got a little, not total vibes, but just a little bit of John Cena versus Lesnar vibes at SummerSlam 2014. But was this match the match of the night? Yeah, some people could say it is. Me personally, like I said, the latter match was match of the night. But Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, they did the one thing that needs to be in wrestling. And I've been saying it for years. And I'm not going to go on this whole rant about how all these wrestlers don't put storytelling in their matches. The most important thing, no matter what type of wrestler you are, no matter how many flips, super kicks, or whatever you do, when you get in that ring, the most important thing you have to do, the most important thing at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you have to tell a story. You have to tell a story. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso did that this past Sunday night. They went out there and put on a storytelling. That right there was storytelling at its finest. The build-up, having Roman and Uso, the promo package, the build-up, the match, everything was just top level notched on. Beautiful. You know? The problem with wrestling nowadays is that everybody wants these long ass matches. But really what you need is storytelling. I mean, look at this past Friday night on SmackDown. Alexa walking out, well, Alexa leaving her match, being possessed by the Fiend, looking straight at Roman. It wasn't because Alexa was disgust. No, it was because the Fiend still remembers what Reigns did, and what Reigns did, he won the Universal Championship at Payback. So, I applaud Roman. I applaud Jey Uso for putting storytelling. It wasn't, now the match itself, it was decent. I'll give it that. It was decent. It wasn't the match of the night, in my opinion, but it was decent. It was decent. Roman Reigns, he got rid of the vest. He ditched everything from the Shield. So at this point, everything from the Shield is dead. I mean, all he has to do is change his theme song. Then the Shield is completely dead. But Roman's a full heel. Because this match was to build, not just solidify Roman Reigns as the top heel, but to solidify that no matter who you are, I'm the tribal chief. I'm going to stop you. And Jey Uso, you got to give Jey Uso. We can't just sit up here and applaud Roman Reigns. Like I said, we got to give Jey Uso some credit too. Great selling, by the way. And a really good underdog story. And just one of the problems with WWE, they, I just loved everything about this storyline. The build-up, the match, the family. And everyone was like, what do you mean story? I didn't see no story. All I saw was Roman kick Uso's butt. Ass. Dude, Roman was telling Uso pretty much the whole match, or towards the end of the match, that, Us, I'm the big dog. I'm the tribal chief. I want you to acknowledge me as the tribal chief. And, Uso didn't want it. He didn't want to admit it. He didn't want to admit it. And what I loved was how Jimmy Uso came out and, was telling Roman to stop, and was going to throw in a towel. Kind of, got Rocky 4 vibes again. But unlike Rocky, who didn't throw the damn towel like Tony told him to, Jimmy threw in the towel. And Roman won by, retained by technical knockout. So that was just perfect. It was perfect. And having, Roman, Heyman put the garland, the necklace, the little thing that Uso was wearing during his entrance to the fight. And having Roman put it on and having Roman hold the title above him as the pay-per-view's going off the air, and having Jimmy Uso just carrying his twin bro. Just making sure, Jey Uso is okay. One thing I'm surprised and would have got really even more heat is if Roman attacked, and what I legit thought was going to happen, Roman was going to attack Jimmy Uso and attack his leg and stand over both Usos. While both Usos are down on the ground, beat, hurt, he's standing over both of them. So that was just an amazing way to end the pay-per-view and solidifies Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. And what I love about his whole little thing with Paul Heyman's not really a manager in this situation. He's not really an advocate. He's more of the person who's, helping out Reigns. I believe he's like his, second in command, some type of shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyways, Roman retains. Now, before I end this off, I want to talk about the draft. The WWE draft is coming up. Hold on. Let me look it up. Yeah, so the draft is coming out. It's going to be in October. And let's see here. I'm trying to. So it says here, hold on. Hold on. So it says here that the 2020 draft is scheduled to occur on the October 9th and 12th episodes of SmackDown and Raw. And what's even crazy about this whole situation is that for the first time ever, NXT will be involved, which means that not only can superstars go to Raw and SmackDown, but superstars can go into NXT. This would be a good opportunity for guys like Ricochet and, hell, even Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, I don't know about Aleister Black, but guys like Ricochet who, let's be real, has not made a killing on the roster. This would be really good for them to go back to NXT where they was valued and was able to hold their craft in it, because they sure as hell haven't been able to hold their craft on the main roster. So yeah, that would be good. So I could see guys like Ricochet going back to NXT. I mean, look at Finn Balor. So, can help. Now here's my problem. So because we're doing the draft, we're still splitting up the shows. We're still doing SmackDown versus Raw versus NXT. Now, but my thing is like, now that's happening, that means the titles are not going to get unified. Like, which sucks because the tag team division needs to be one. The women's title need to be one. It's like, dude, if you make them separate and you split them up into these brands, they're not going to really have that many challenges. It's better to put them all in one. That way, you don't have to see the Street Profits versus Angel Garza 1,000 times. You don't have to see Bayley versus Nikki Cross 1,000 times like we did. You don't have to see Apollo Crews versus Lashley. Oh, wait a minute. That's the United States Championship. But you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, man. So, anyways, so that's my thoughts on WWE Clash of Champions. So, yeah.